Hi, I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. And I'm here to share the speaker portion of our Connections After Hours gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Liz Goll Lerner is speaking on Presence, your guide to better relationships through clear communication. Liz is an author, spiritual teacher, art psychotherapist, counselor, and coach, and has been, has been helping transform lives for decades. And you can check out Liz's information. Her links are in the text of this video. And Liz, welcome. Thanks for being here with us. Look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Oh, thank you so much, Jenny. It's always a pleasure to be here. So presence and being present and communication are all vital to relationship with ourselves, to relationship with our business, and relationship with each other, relationship with our important people in our lives. And what I find is that people have a really hard time, I know from my own experience over the years, just being centered and calm and non-emotionally reactive to actually share what they want to share, what we all want to share with the people who are most important to us in all these different kinds of relationships, including ourselves. And I had the honor of, being chatting with some of the group before I started speaking. And so many of the things that were said are what happens to almost everyone I talk to, where there's self-talk that isn't happy, or there's emotions that take over, or we can't think when we want to say something important to somebody that we really care about, or we want to put forth something in our work life, and it's very hard to get the response we want if we're not feeling centered in ourselves. So presence, and I see a difference between being present and presence. So what I'd like to do with everyone right now is take you through a very short exercise about actually being present in the moment. And one of the things that I notice, first of all, I think being present in the moment is actually the biggest challenge that we have in our lives right now. Probably mankind always, or womankind always had these challenges, but in our culture and our society, everything moves very quickly. There's a lot of input. We choose that input a lot of the time. And we're never really in our bodies, or a lot of the time. I mean, I don't want to say never, and I don't want to say always, because people have very different experiences. But generally, when I talk with people, what I find is that they don't have a sense of actually feeling the weight of their body in the space that they're in the moment. So if we all could just for a moment feel our bodies in the chair. If you're sitting, if you're standing, feeling your body supported, the weight of your body supported by the floor. So just take a moment and take a breath and close your eyes if that is easier for you. And just nice inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just notice the weight of your body being supported by the chair. If your feet are on the floor, feel the connection between the floor and your feet. We're doing gentle breathing, no dizzy breathing, just very gentle, but in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, a lot of times so many thoughts come in that it's hard to notice what that feels like. So just for a moment, just do it again, just for a moment, and just feel what it feels like to actually sink in to the chair. And you might want to pat your legs, you might want to pat your arms, you might want to actually get some tactile experience with your body just in this moment. Because most of the time, you can open your eyes, and I'm going to chat for a minute, and then I'm going to take you through this little exercise. Most of the time, we're walking around as if our heads are not connected to our bodies. We're thinking, we're planning, we're having all kinds of thoughts about what's going on around us, what people are thinking, what we need to do next. We're getting pings on our phone if we leave it on. We're not actually, if we're in a conversation, we're thinking about what we're going to say next instead of actually listening to what that person might be saying to us. And then there's nothing to plan, because then we get to actually respond to what they're saying instead of maybe the assumption we're making or the story we're telling. We're not really there. So the reason I talk about presence in relation to communication, and even especially self-communication, is recognizing when we're actually having a story or a conversation go on in our head that's taking us away from being where we are and actually enjoying or seeing or being present to the nature or to the human that we're with, or to the animal that we're with, or just seeing the beautiful colors of a tree, because we're not really there. So when we can start to really listen to what we're saying and kind of make a distinction between, you know, what the chatter is and what we're actually experiencing, that's like major step one, right? If we notice that we're, you know, in a meeting or having a conversation with a friend and we're thinking about the last conversation, then maybe there's something we need to be talking to that friend about instead of thinking about or reacting emotionally to something that happened in another meeting. Because often people, you know, we do that. We kind of meet somebody and we're back where we were the last time we saw them. But actually, we're not. We're here in the present. And if something's getting in the way, then we need to chat about it, right? And that's hard. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard to know what we want to say, or it's hard to be able to step back and not be emotionally reactive, you know, or to maybe sometimes, if you know, a lot of people have talked about this evening, writing and writing down what's important, and having that be a vehicle to step back so that you can actually be there and choose how you want to be communicating. So let's take a moment. It's just going to take a couple of minutes, and I'm going to have you begin again to take that nice deep breath, close your eyes, feel your body in the chair. And I want you to put your attention on your feet. And I'm going to keep it short so you don't fall asleep since it's evening. If you could please just put all your attention on your feet and notice the floor or the rug, even if you're in shoes, that connection between your foot, your feet, and the floor, the bottoms of your feet. Nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and breathing gently in the same way. Begin to feel a deeper connection to the floor, imagining that the floor is the earth, and the vitality of the earth is connected with every bit of the surface of the bottom of your foot. So all of that grounding energy, all of that vitality, if you can smell an aroma in your imagination, that earthy, vital energy moving up into your feet. and up into your ankles and your lower legs. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling anything that needs to go. And allowing that energy to move all the way up your thighs and into your pelvic floor, feeling the weight of your body supported by the chair. And just with your intention, even if you don't visualize or can't feel it, just with your intention, know that you're a vital being and the earth is vital, and you're just bringing that energy up. You just choose it and let it move up into your torso and up into your chest and up into the throat and down your arms, and shake out anything that needs to go. Again, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And starting at the base of the spine, moving that energy up all the way to the top of your head. And connecting with the top of your head, the crown chakra, just allowing life force, if you choose, to come through, down, golden light, beautiful golden light, just moving down through the body. Little particles like carbonated water, just going where it needs to go. One hand on your chest, on your heart. The other hand on your hand, please. And breathe into your hands. And repeat after me. I am here. I have a right to be here. I have a right to be here fully and freely. I am here. Deep breath into your hands. Deep breath all the way down into the base of your spine, feeling your feet on the floor. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So that is an experience, if you're able to let the chatter go, of actually just being present in that moment. That I am here, I have a right to be here, I have a right to be here fully and freely. I am here, taking it into your body. There is nowhere else you are. Our brains, we think we can multitask, and we think that we can do and think and say all kinds of things all at the same time, but really we can only do one thing at a time. So if you're putting your attention on your feet, that's where your attention is, and it isn't anywhere else. So that gives you an opportunity to step back, take a breath, recognize where you are, and then be able to make a choice. Because what happens a lot of the time is that we're just reacting to things. We're reacting to being worried, or reacting to a facial expression, or reacting to, feeling a certain way. But if we are only just present, then we actually get a little space for that breath that we need to be able to step back and say, okay, let me collect myself. What is it that I really want to do here? And once you give yourself that space, infinite things can happen, because we're not run by our emotional reactivity. We're run by our own true sense of self and choice. And yes, it takes practice, no question, but it's attainable, it's learnable, and it allows incredible freedom. So it's kind of like, instead of having that feeling of just knowing, like that moment when everybody's had it, where you just know, instead of having that be an anomaly, that's like starts to get to be the majority of your life, where you're just knowing, because you're intentionally making sure that you're stepping back, taking a breath, making sure you're in your body. And then you've got space. And then you get to choose. You know, one of the things that occurred to me, and our world right now particularly is fraught. And so sometimes it's hard to talk to people that we've talked to for, you know, ever, and pretty much agreed with about everything. I'm reading more and more and talking with people more and more that's harder. You know, war and the environment and politics and all kinds of things that tend to be divisive. And if we remember what's important, and it's going to be different for everyone, but if we can have the vision of what's important, of being present in the moment, being able to listen, being able to speak without emotional reactivity, being able to choose, then maybe some of those conversations can happen instead of not happen. Or maybe some of those friendships can actually have dialogue instead of no dialogue. And again, it takes incredible self-control and practice, but then it brings us into that presence. So for me, having that sense of being present leads us to presence. And my work is about, you know, moving from the physical to the spiritual and the spiritual to the physical. So whatever that means to any individual. So the feeling of, you know, that there's more to it, there's more to us. And then taking that and saying, okay, well, what's the vision? If there's more, what's really important? And then being able to communicate that instead of maybe our positioning, because positioning often leads to discord. So, you know, I'm kind of leading in a little bit to some pieces of what my book is about, the Divorce Well and Thrive book. But that book is really also about how do you communicate in relationship and how do you make communication better, and how do you move into an ease of communication where even if somebody doesn't agree with you, or even if you've been hurt, how do you find a stillness to understand what you want to have happen in that conversation? Because it's your show. It's your life. It's your choice. And if you have a vision of what you want to have in in any conversation, and you take the time to get present and really connect with your own guidance, then you have a lot of strength and a lot of, you know, when somebody's clear about what they're saying, there's usually very little pushback, because there's a presence of, I'm not talking about winning an argument. I'm just talking about being able to not be afraid to speak your truth. Because that's all we really often, I think, at least for me, that's what I want to do most of the time, is try and find a way to show up authentically and speak my truth and do it in a way that allows more instead of less. Right. Let me just see if there's. So I think I've covered like a lot of the main points that I wanted to. And I think, you know, we could have a conversation that goes in a lot of different directions, but I think what's really important is recognizing that there's a route, that there's a way to get to that place of centeredness, and that it doesn't take very much to find yourself there. Like if all you did was concentrate on your feet and breathe, you would find yourself present in the moment. if you allow it. And it's pulling back all the thoughts that show up and going, oh yeah, wait, concentrating on my feet right now. Like, we are going to think stuff. You're probably, people who are listening are probably thinking all kinds of things right now, right? But if we just, go right back down there and feel the weight of the body supported by the floor, supported by the chair, and concentrating on the feet, then all of a sudden we are in the moment. We're on the place on the earth that we are. Gravity is holding us. We're not going anywhere, at least at the moment. And we get to take that breath. We get to have that space. So I hope that this is helpful. It's the beginning of my quantum presence technique. If anybody wants to learn more about that, can get in touch with me. And I have links to put in the chat.
I would love for everyone here with us on Zoom to unmute yourselves, and let's give some applause and yays to Liz for this. Well, for me, which is a beautiful reminder of how simple it can be to get back to the present. I mean, to just be in the present. I think we can make it so complicated sometimes. And you said, if all you're doing is feeling your feet and breathing, that can make a difference, right, Liz?
Right, because then it gives the space to be able to be present to what you actually are wanting in that moment, how you're wanting to communicate with whomever you're with. If it's self-talk that's negative, how do you separate out the you, like the beautiful you, from whatever, some other voice in your head? Like, we had another conversation about that, but who's talking in your head, right? Like, where'd you hear that not nice thing? Well, it probably didn't come from you originally, came from something you heard. So, or something somebody said to you, and somehow you took it on. So it's time to recognize that isn't you, even though we've felt these things for so long that we think they're ourselves, but they're really not. I'm just going to put a couple of things in the chat, and I'd like to just say what they are so people understand. So we didn't talk about, difficult, romantic relationships, but there is, for anyone who might be thinking about fixing or having a difficult separating from their partner, yourinspiredchoices.com divorce well is my coaching program. Your Inspired Choice. Oh, so there's a link in there for a course that I teach called Enlightened Communication Through Luminous Living. And it's really about understanding how to connect through 12 arcs, how to connect to that part of you that is your presence and your central core self, and utilizing my quantum presence technique to actually begin to understand the parts of self that are communicating with you, and how to actually end up being the master of your own ship, instead of like 1 minute, one part of you is ruling, 1 minute the other part is ruling. How do you actually be in conversation with all parts of self and enjoy living that way with a bit more mastery? And then if anyone wanted to be a advanced reader copy of my book Reader, there's a link in the chat for that.
I don't see it. Did you just put it in, Liz?
I did. Oh, did I not? Oh, there it is.
There you go.
I didn't hit that important button.
Right. Okay, so everyone unmute yourself. Unmute yourselves again, and let's just give some applause to Liz and thank you. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Liz.
you.
Thank
And
you.
we're going to go off camera and take some questions in a minute, but I want to thank anyone else who is watching this live or the replay or on our YouTube channel. If you'd like to join us for one of our 9 free Zoom gatherings a month, or an in-person in Columbia, Maryland, Tallahassee, Florida, or Richmond, Virginia, just put something in the comments and let me know. Or you can also go to my website, opwgc.com, and check us out. Thanks for watching, everyone.